Wow.
Wow, this is some really deep stuff.
I don't know what just happened, but something happened inside of me. Something snapped, something clicked.
I wasn't expecting that either.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's beautiful.
Monster is like really small, but it had to become that to stop me.
And then the hurt child became present when you mentioned it.
And I didn't realize this until now.
There were things that I didn't remember until now.
Funny, I haven't seen that before.
And it feels like I'm the monster. I'm kind of seeing images of things, of a world where they can exist. This clarity brings all kinds of answers.
It's clear. She hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Oh, it wants to come out. It wants to bippity boppity boop Cinderella me. She's melted into my chest. It's ooey gooey.
All week been finishing things, cleaning up more, started eating vegetables again last week. And it kind of just started happening. It's almost like I just finished going through a meditation session.
I feel light, when you hit that first joint, in the morning, and
I actually feel a lot more awake.
Okay. So think about a part of yourself that you'd like to get to know better or change your relationship with, or anything that you feel like has been getting in your way, or really any issue at all that you would like to explore.
Mm-hmm.
Just let me know when you've come up with something along those lines.
Yeah, I think I would like to get to know my inner child more.
Okay. Well, that's an excellent. I commend you for wanting to do that work. And in IFS, we do that. I mean, we talk to parts of ourselves, and specifically, they're usually kind of divided into two broad categories. So one is usually called protectors, and the other is usually called exiles. But that often really kind of looks like our inner adults and our inner children. So, so I'm happy to do that, and we can do that. But I will just let you know that typically it's hard to go, or it's not wise to go straight for that, because we have these kind of protectors that come up and say, no, we're not going to go talk to we're not going to let that out of the bag right away. So I'll ask you some more questions about that, and we can kind of, calibrate and see where to start. But yeah, okay. We can do that. So let's see. Do you have any sensations, or when you think about what that means, like an inner child for you, do you have already some sensations or some visualizations or any kind of definition about that?
Yeah, I feel a little sad when I think about my inner child, because I feel like I had to grow up pretty quickly and I didn't get to experience a lot of childhood and just kind of freedom and carefreeness that I feel like a lot of people experience as children.
Okay. Yeah. So it sounds like you have a pretty you experience that pretty directly. Like you're really feeling that sadness kind of. Um, well, some people have a lot of trouble feeling anything around and their inner child. So I'm saying that you sound like you have more direct access.
Yeah, it's definitely something I have been trying to, kind of work on, relating to more and journaling about recently.
Yeah. And so when does it come up for you, or how does it come up for you? Like when you're, and I don't mean just thinking about your childhood, but I mean, do you have experiences where you feel like there's a part of you that's a child, there is an inner child and it's communicating to you or you're communicating to it?
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of times when I'm out, like, kind of doing like physical play, like especially playing with like other actual children, like my nieces or nephews, or they're really my roommates' nieces and nephews, but they're basically mine as well.
Yeah.
And just kind of like, playing with them and having those little goo goo gaga conversations with them. I find that really funny. And I think also when I sit down to do art, I feel very like kind of carefree in a sense. Like it doesn't matter, what the art actually looks like. It's just the act of doing it and being able to just play with it.
Yeah.
Also, when I'm playing with my dog,
Yeah.
I really like that because I just don't have to actually like say or do anything. It's like we're just communicating with sounds and eye contact, and that feels very childlike, and he makes me laugh.
Yeah, those are all play activities, and that's what kids are all about. So does that inner child part of you, does it send you messages? Does it have anything that it says to you? And you don't have to make anything up if the answer is no, or you're not sure.
And the first thing that immediately came to mind was keep exploring.
Okay. And so, is there a place in your body where that feels like it comes from? That sensation or that message to keep exploring? Where do you feel that coming from?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Might it have like an aura or an energy or a direction or any a vibration? It could be anything, but if you're not sure, you're not sure, and that's fine too.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Okay. So, how would you say you feel towards this part of yourself?
I mean, I definitely like relate to what you were saying before about the protector and kind of wanting to, shield the inner child from any harm or outside influence.
Yeah. And earlier you talked about a sadness that you have when you think about your childhood.
Yeah.
When you connect with or hear messages from this inner child, do you also feel that sadness then?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So you have a feeling of wanting to protect it, and that could be, I don't know, if you're protecting it from the world, or if you're protecting the world from it, or yourself from it, and the pain it might feel. And then you also have that sadness. So we're not going to just push right past those.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to check in with those parts of you and ask any other parts how they would feel about talking about your inner child in this conversation,
Mm-hmm.
or even just you connecting with your inner child. What kind of resistances, if any, or messages of kind of resistance do you hear when you think about talking with your inner child? You can just kind of listen out for those.
Yeah, when I think about resistance to doing that, the first thing that came to mind was like, grow up, you're an adult now.
Okay. So all of these, I'm going to label all of these as parts. So there's a part of you that is interested in protecting this. There's a part of you that's sad about it. And there's another part of you that has some judgment about, hey, grow up. This kind of being dismissive or judgy. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So let's try, if it's all right with you, let's take one of those parts and see if we can talk to one of them first. Maybe this part that's saying grow up.
Okay.
And of course, you can ask me to stop, or if any part of this you don't like, we can stop it. So just let me know.
Will do.
So this part that is saying, hey, grow up, where do you feel that in your body or around your body?
I don't know.
Okay, that's fine. How do you sense it? Is it that verbal message? Is it an image? Does it feel like a push or a pull when you hear something saying grow up?
I don't know. It feels like it's coming from above me.
Okay. Can you well, let me ask, how do you feel towards that part that says grow up and it feels like it's above you? How do you feel towards it?
Afraid a little bit.
Okay. That makes sense, because it's kind of pushing down on you and telling you how to be, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what would you think about us trying to get to know this part that says, hey, grow up?
Mm-hmm.
If we could do that without the fear, if that was possible, would you be up for that? To just the idea of trying to understand that part of yourself that's saying grow up. And it might only take 5 or 10 minutes to kind of interact with that part.
For sure.
Okay. So the part that's feeling afraid, the part that has some fear about that, would it be possible for you to turn towards that part and ask it for a little bit of space while you and I, in this conversation, get to know the part of you that's saying, grow up. And just see how it reacts to you asking it that. Let it know that we can stop this anytime we want, and you don't have to share anything you want. And if you do share something and you decide you want to unshare it, that's fine. I don't have to publish anything. I haven't published anything yet. So
yeah.
So see if you can ask that fear if it will give you some space so that you can get to know this part that's telling you to grow up. And just see how it reacts.
Please give me some space.
Yeah. How does it react to that?
I feel resistance.
Okay. Good. We're not going to push past that. We're going to respect that. When you're talking to this part that feels afraid, where do you feel that in your body or around your body? What's that sensation like?
I'm not sure. I noticed myself like kind of squeezing in between my fingers.
Okay. See if you can ask this part that's afraid. See if you can ask it what it would like you to know, and then or what it would like you to know about it, and then just wait for the answer.
All right. What would you like me to know?
Yeah, and you can
about you.
Yeah, and you don't have to do any of that out loud. You can do it in your head or anything. Either way.
Okay.
And just wait for the answer from that afraid part. What would it like you to know? How's it responding?
The first thing that came to mind said, I am still a child.
Okay.
And that it's righteous in its fear.
Yeah. Okay. That makes a lot of sense to me. So just let it know that its fear is okay, and like you said, righteous. It's okay. It's okay to have that fear, and we're not gonna just push past it or tell it that it's wrong to have that. and show it some sympathy, because if this part is a child, and it says it is, then see if you can just show it some sympathy and some compassion for how it's feeling, however that might look for you. And see how it reacts to that. Were you able to do that?
Yeah, I'm kind of like, I don't know, picturing it being wrapped up in a big hug.
Yeah, and how's it responding to that?
I don't know, it feels like it's just there, like almost no response.
Okay.
Like it's kind of like, I don't know, wanting to accept the hug but not give it back.
Yeah. That sounds like a really hard place to be. To be afraid and to not feel comfortable to have the hug. So you might just let it know that you see that it's in a really difficult place.
I feel like it wants to be cradled without having to give anything in return.
That's okay. So let it know that's okay. That's okay to feel that way. And if you're up for it, you can go ahead and do that. And you can cradle it. I mean, if you're up for it, and if not, that's fine too. If you have other parts that are saying, no, this is wrong, we need to step back or stop this, and that's okay. We can respect those and listen to those parts too. But it's your call, it's your world, and if you have a part that has some desire to be cradled, and you're up for doing that, then go for it.
Okay.
How's it reacting?
I think it's accepting the hug more.
Okay. You might try asking it if it would be okay if it would now allow, or if it would now feel comfortable with you addressing this part maybe that's saying to grow up. Just in this, you have this power to talk with your parts and to heal them and soothe them and listen to them. So I just want to make sure that we're not doing this work with this particular part while we still have another part in the background saying, "Hey, grow up." We might need to address that first, and that would help for you to be able to get closer and to learn more about your other parts. So just see what it thinks about that.
Says I don't want to grow up. I want to be a kid.
Yeah, that's fine. This is a child part, so we don't want to change it at all. Our goal in this conversation is not to change that part at all.
Yeah.
So let it know that, and that it's very entitled to that feeling, and we respect that.
Yeah.
Do you still have that part saying, "Hey, grow up"? Is that still in the room with you? Are you still feeling that, like, as it kind of came up earlier?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, I just have a concern about working with this child part without addressing that part. And keep in mind, these parts are in you, and we can just check in with them and see what they have to say without being overwhelmed by them and without agreeing with them or anything like that. We can talk to the part that says, "Hey, grow up," without saying, "Yeah, you're right, I should grow up,"
Yeah.
If you're okay with that.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. And you can tell that child part that if you've enjoyed that time with it, that you can come back and do that anytime. You can do that later in this conversation or later today, or I'm trusting you won't just forget about that, right? So let it know that. And when you're ready, if you want, let's try turning towards this part that's saying, "Hey, grow up." And let's see if we can talk to it a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. So how are you feeling towards that part that said, "Hey, grow up"? That said, "Grow up."
I feel like I want to ignore it.
Okay. All right. Makes sense. So with IFS, with what I'm trying to do here, I mean, there are all kinds of parts we want to ignore, and there are parts that have been ignored for a long time. Often it is the inner child that has been ignored for a long time. And I think kind of one of the aims, one of the goals is that if we can hear from it, even if just for a minute, then we can ask it some questions and kind of understand its real intention, which usually, or maybe always, is actually positive. So I know that might feel like hard to believe or just crazy. But yeah, if you can get curious about that part, then we can ask it a couple questions. And again, if at any time you're feeling like this is dumb, I do want to go back to ignoring it, this is painful, this is too painful, or any of that, you have full control over just, push that button and say, nope, we're not going to go there.
Okay.
So yeah, that has that part of you that wants to ignore it. Is it willing to give us some space while we ask it a couple questions? While we ask the grow up part a couple questions?
Yeah, I think it can be curious.
Great. See if you can turn towards that part that says grow up and ask it what it wants you to know, or what it wants you to know about it, and just wait for the answer.
I think it also wants to protect me, but it doesn't know how.
Okay. How is it saying that? What kind of messages, or how are you getting that from it? I mean, did it say that?
Yeah, it feels like, I don't know, kind of defensive.
Okay. Yeah, so just let it know we're trying to understand more about it out of our curiosity. So, if you're getting that vibe that it wants to protect you, you might just say thank you, show it some appreciation for wanting to protect you.
Okay.
And maybe ask it, what is it afraid will happen if it doesn't get your attention that way? If it doesn't talk to you that way that you don't like, where it's saying grow up, where it feels like it's above you, what is it afraid will happen if it doesn't get your attention that way?
I think it's afraid that allowing myself and my inner child to be vulnerable and not have my guard up would open up opportunity for me to be hurt.
Yeah. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay, let it know that makes a lot of sense to you and that you totally feel that. It makes sense to me. Let it know that you feel that, and that you get that strong feeling when it's telling you to grow up, that you hear it loud and clear. And again, see if you can show it some appreciation for its intention, that it doesn't want you to be hurt. And the way it's doing it is a way that you don't like, and we can address that too, but just in this time, if you can just show it some appreciation for its intention. Are you able to do that? And how does it react?
I find it difficult to show it the appreciation. Like, I try to, and then it ends with a but.
Yeah. Because you don't like the way that it's talking to you, right? In general?
Yeah.
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 Makes sense. Makes sense. Does it have more? Ask it if it has more it wants to show you or to say about its concerns. It might have some images or some, yeah, it might have some kind of difficult things that it's had to deal with that it might show you.
Mm-hmm.
And how would you say you're feeling towards it now?
I think a little bit more appreciative. It wants me to take care of myself.
Yeah. Yeah, anything you can do to show it any of that appreciation, even if it's just a sliver. I'm with you that there's a lot that you don't like about your relationship with that part, and that makes total sense to me. So I'm not asking you to give it a full embrace. Just any recognition that you can show it for at least its good intentions, I think would be helpful. Try asking it this. Try asking it if you could heal that part of you that's so vulnerable, that can get hurt, out there in the world, the part that it's protecting, the part that it's worried about. If you could heal that and you could handle that and it didn't have to do its protective job anymore, what else would it like to do inside of you? What other role would it like to have? What would it like to do with its energy?
relax.
Okay. What does that look like for it? Does it have a place or a manner in which it does that? It might show you how it relaxes, or you might show it what a relaxing life for it would look like. I have another question for this part. Ask it how old it thinks you are, and just wait for the answer.
The first thing that came to mind was 6 or 7.
Okay, that makes sense. That's probably when this part got really activated. It probably had to start doing a job of protecting when you were about 6 or 7. And it had to start telling you to grow up. So go ahead and update it with your real age and let it know that you have all kinds of opportunities and tools and abilities that you didn't have when you were 6 and 7. And see how it reacts to that.
It seems surprised.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of stuck back there, doing a job that might not be, it may have saved your life at that age, but the way it's doing it now isn't necessarily how you need it to be done anymore. So it might be able to relax. And you might also let it know that just a minute ago, you're able to talk to your inner child, and you are able to communicate with and heal parts of you. You're not 6 and 7 anymore, but instead you can talk to those parts and work with them. And so it might not just, it's entirely possible that you can free it up from its job, and it can relax. Try asking it what it needs from you in the future.
Reassurance.
It needs to know that you're on the job, that you're looking out and listening out.
Yeah. I think, it hears me saying all these things about, my current age and being able to protect my inner child, and it doesn't have to be on guard, and it's like afraid that, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and that's not going to be true anymore.
Yeah, that's a really valid concern. So, and we're certainly not going to make it any promises that this kind of work will happen overnight. So,
Yeah.
so thank it for remaining on guard, and we're not trying to just dismiss it. When we asked what it would like to do and it said relax, it's good to know. It's good to see what that might look like, but that doesn't mean that you can definitely make that happen right away.
Yeah.
But hopefully it can see that you do have this new tool, and you certainly have tools that you didn't have when you were 6 and 7.
Mm-hmm.
So however way it wants to work with you, it can work with you in your current age. And then I would just thank it for being willing to talk with you, and for showing you what it really was intending and what it needs from you. How you doing?
I think it wants me to know that it's always going to be here and that I can come back and talk to it anytime I want.
Yeah, that's ideal. We're not going to eradicate any of the parts. That part wants something good for you. It wants to look out for you. And yeah, you can put it to good use. And you can also let it relax. You can do all kinds of things for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we could stop now, or we can keep going. I'm fine either way. The keep going would be to go back and talk to that child part. We could also schedule to do that another time. I'd be happy to do that another time. Sounds like this conversation's been had a lot of effect on you emotionally, so I want to respect that, and we can go either way.
Yeah, can we come back to it another time?
Yeah. You've been a really good support. I just want to thank you a lot for being willing to do all this. This is all really new to you, and this practice, the way we're doing it. I know that you've done therapy before, but
not like this.
Not like this, right? Yeah.
Yeah, this is really interesting.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So we don't have to go back and talk to that inner child, but you can. You can, after you get off the phone with me, if your parts are okay with it, you can get right back to that hug and asking it any type of questions, or just journaling about that. One of the kind of prescriptions or homework in general is just to keep checking in with any parts that you met. So if you got to meet that part and talk to that part that's saying grow up, you might just check in with that every day for a minute. Just see how it's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And same with that child part. You might just say hi. See if it's feeling more open to a hug. you have anything you'd like to say about how this went for you, or any questions for me? I have time, so don't worry about that.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's been a valuable experience for me to kind of help me figure out how to open up those parts of myself and connect with them. And definitely something I would be interested in coming back to and repeating.
Really? Well, that would be great. I'd love to. So we'll make it happen.
Cool.
Yeah, you did great.
Thanks.
I mean, it's a completely different paradigm, and it's just, and most people that I talk to, they're not going to that depth, or at least not until a third or fourth conversation often. So, yeah, I can see how that would be like kind of knocking you back some, or just feeling like a whole lot happening at once. So I appreciate you hanging in there and being willing to share that. And yeah, thanks to those parts of you that were willing to give space when you asked and were courageous to do all this. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, I don't have any more questions, so unless you have any for me, it's nice talking with you. I'll be in touch.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. Take care. Bye.
All right, talk to you later. Bye.
Do you want to help bring more self-energy to the world? If you'd like to participate in calls or help out with this project in any way, I'd love to hear your ideas. Join the Discord server or contact me at james@liveifs.com. A huge thanks to our audio engineer, Zikri, for your care and diligence in editing the calls. To every caller for your courage in sharing some of your parts. And to anyone out there getting to know their internal system, keep going. Who knows? That might be the most selfless, helpful thing you can do for others, and you're the only one who can do it. If you'd like to see us reach the largest audience, we must please the almighty suggestion algorithms at iTunes and YouTube. And they don't care about the power of IFS. They're looking for likes and shares and comments, and the sooner the better. Follow the links in the show notes right here in your podcast player to make your wishes known. And now, a minute of meditation. Or if you prefer, pull over. You can do it in 60 seconds. Just click one of those links. They're right there, and give us a like or a 5-star rating. It would really help. If you think this project is helping people, you're helping people by sharing it. Thank you.